Now, the other morning I had to get up really properly early. I was up at 5 o'clock. I'd had my breakfast by 5:30, and just before 6 I sat down to watch the launch of a new electric car. So this is the Nissan ARIYA, and this is fully charged. Well, this is the sort of thing that I used to fly right around the world to go to the launch of a big car, a big new car like this, the Nissan ARIYA that was just revealed. It had been revealed at, prototypes had been revealed at car shows in the past, but this is the first time the actual production vehicle was released. And it's Nissan's first all-electric crossover. So a crossover, there's all these terms that I tend not to try and use, automotive terms. So it's a little bit of a compact SUV-ish. The top of the range ones have a range of around 310 miles, 500 kilometers. It has a lot of autonomous driving features which have been developed over the last 10 years. So the important thing to remember is Nissan have a very long and very successful history of manufacturing pure electric cars. So I think it's fair to say they were the first company. Renault followed them very quickly, but Nissan were the first company to mass produce a made from the ground up fully electric vehicle, the Nissan Leaf. I still have one of the very first ones they made. Brilliant car, real game changer, really changed a lot of people's attitudes to electric vehicles. Loads of problems. Air-cooled batteries or atmosphere-cooled batteries have proven to be slightly problematic. I've certainly lost range on mine over that 10-year period. But that aside, it's an amazingly resilient, strong, well-made vehicle. It's never had any mechanical issues, not one thing. Tyres is the only thing that's been a problem. It's been absolutely remarkably reliable. But the battery is not very good, and as I've already mentioned on this show, I'm going to be replacing it whenever I'm allowed out of this country. So they are, they did that car. They've sold hundreds of thousands of Nissan Leafs around the world. They've been very, very successful. You still see loads of them around. Loads of taxi firms use them around the world, which is a very good sign. Shows that they're reliable and economic to use, because taxi firms wouldn't use them if they weren't. But it hasn't been exactly followed up by a huge range of other electric vehicles until now. So Nissan have announced they're releasing 8 new electric cars in the next 2 or 3 years, and this is really the first of that new batch. And the ARIYA, I think, is going to be a really, really good car. It's a really good sign. This is obviously the next generation. I think what's important about this car that will set it apart from other large manufacturers that are just introducing electric cars now is Nissan have got 10 years of experience of what goes wrong, what customers like, what customers moan about, how often these cars are really used, how often they're charged, how long the batteries last, all that real stuff. They've got real solid data on all that information, which will really pushes them ahead. And they are now doing they're using that information and that knowledge to make their next vehicle. So one of the key things that is instantly sprung to my attention when they announced it, when I was watching this presentation, was that it has liquid or water-cooled batteries. That makes, we now know, a big difference. It's quite important. That really extends the longevity of the battery pack. It makes the battery pack more effective. It can charge faster. It can drive longer. All those things are an advantage of having it. Obviously, it increases the weight. If you have just air blowing around a battery, that's lighter than having a liquid-cooled jacket around it, because you've got to put liquid in it, and liquid is heavy. So it's going to be a heavier car. But, that is really a real good sign. Much bigger batteries and a few other advantages. So I'll go through them. So in terms of looks, I'm the worst person to judge. I don't know. I have the aesthetic sense of, I don't even know, dust. grit. I just don't know. But with cars in particular, I cannot tell you. It is clearly, to my mind, a slightly larger compact SUV. It's that size. It is that crossover size. To me, it looks like a myriad of other sort of compactish SUV crossover vehicles, like the Kia e-Niro or the Hyundai Kona. You know, there's a lot of that sort of size, sort of squashed up and high up and big batteries underneath. I mean, it makes sense. I can understand that. It would just have been nice to have a slightly different take on it, but there are clearly really strong fashions in car design, just the same way there are in clothing. It's got big 19-inch wheels. It can have 20-inch wheels if you want. It's got one light across the back, one strip of LEDs to give it that one beautiful line across the back. Well, I've just driven the Polestar that has exactly the same thing. A lot of cars have that. It's a fashion thing. It's all about fashion. So I'm not that bothered about those things one way or the other. It's fine if you like it, and I think it's good. It's got good lights on the back. They're LEDs. They don't use much energy. It's fine. I quite like the description that they used of the colour of the car that was shown at the launch. It's a two-tone copper package, and it's called, in Japanese, Akatsuki. It is Akatsuki, which is meant to express the moment of light just before dawn. I think that's very good. It's very poetic. I like that. Nice. According to the press release, the interior is defined by the Japanese term ma. That refers to spatiotemporal openings. I don't know what that is. Doctor, I think I've got trouble with my spatiotemporal openings. Have you got any ointment? I don't know what a spatiotemporal opening is. And they claim that the interior is more akin to a lounge on a starship. Sir, have you been into the lounge on B deck? I don't think we ever had those on Red Dwarf, but, very, very modern looking, very clean lines, very clean, and I'm sure it's going to be gorgeous. There are 5 different versions of the Nissan ARIYA available. There's a 63 kilowatt hour rear-wheel drive, and that has an estimated range. This is a WLTP range of 223 miles. So let's say 200 or 358 kilometers. Let's say 320 kilometers. But that's really, really good when you consider that when the Nissan Leaf came out, when I had that had an estimated range of 100 miles, real range of about 85, 90. I think I did 93 without running out. I did 103 when I made it run out. So that was what we were talking about then. Now you're talking about well over 200 miles in a much bigger car with a 63 kilowatt hour battery, but it also comes with an 87 kilowatt hour battery, same car, rear wheel drive version, and that has an estimated range of 310 miles, so 300, or 500 kilometers, 480. But that is amazing. So they've gone into that range. They've gone into what was Tesla range. So that is really, really good. But then there is the e-Force. And now Force is spelled number 4, Orse. Force, e-Force. So that's the 4-wheel drive version. And that has the similar ranges, but there's a 63 kilowatt hour all-wheel drive version. There's an 87 kilowatt hour all-wheel drive version. So they are with similar ranges, I would think slightly less. But then at the top of the range, there is the ARIYA e-Force 87 kilowatt hour performance model. Oof. And that has the 0 to 60 of 5 seconds, even though that is utterly unimportant. But it does have that. So there is a beefy one. But here's a really important thing. Loads of people have asked about this. The Nissan ARIYA can tow. It can have a tow hook fitted on the back, and it can tow things. It can tow up to 1,500 kilogram weighted trailer or caravan or whatever. So that is very good. The 63 kilowatt hour version can charge at 7.4 kilowatts on a domestic charger. So that's the sort of socket that I've got here. But if you've got a 3-phase supply, like I do have, you can charge the 87 kilowatt hour version at 22 kilowatts, and that does make a difference. 22 kilowatts is very, very fast. Charges much, much quicker, like overnight. But you need a 3-phase supply for that. The rapid charging, this is interesting. This is a Nissan. The Nissan Leaf always had CHAdeMO, which is fine because that was one of the early, and it's very popular in Japan, one of the early charging systems that was introduced, rapid chargers. But this car comes with CCS, up to 130 kilowatts capable of a charge on CCS, which is really good because CCS is the standard now in Europe, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. It is going to be the most common. The other good thing it does is over-the-air updates. That is really, really good. Again, Tesla, did that probably how long ago, 7 or 8 years ago, and finally manufacturers are catching up, but I'm really pleased they're doing it. And it has a smartphone app, which I've been assured actually works, because there is a smartphone app that goes with the Nissan Leaf. It never did, never went with it, it never went anywhere near it, it never connected. So I'm hoping that Nissan Connect, their smartphone app, really does work. That means you can, set the temperature while it's still plugged in the morning. You can charge or stop charging the batteries. There's lots of other things you can use those apps for, and they're really useful. A 12.3-inch instrument monitor, and then a 12.3-inch center display, and that's becoming a standard thing in electric cars. One of the interesting things, it's got apparently a very big heads-up display in front of you, and actually, that is very, very useful. I like a good heads-up display. If it's really simple, you just want one or two things, your speed and the direction, a turn direction things. Those are really useful things to have right in front of you. You don't even glance down at everything, you see it in front of you. It also comes with voice recognition, which always makes me anxious, because having just used voice recognition in the Polestar 2, which is basically Android, so it's Google. It just works. It's brilliant. It recognizes your voice. When I've used voice recognition systems developed by automotive manufacturers, it's always been a little bit, you get a bit shouty and starting to, show me the way to the cafe on the high street, as you're driving along, and it goes, taking you to the airfield now. When I was in the Polestar, I just said, hey, G word, navigate me to blah, blah, blah. And it did it just like boom, straight away, so quick. So there's a great advantage in using a software company that have spent billions of pounds developing really good software. Put that in your car. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But anyway, who knows? I don't know what else is in the Nissan ARIYA. I'm really pleased Nissan have done it. It's a really tough time to launch a new car. I think it's very brave of them. I think this is going to be a really nice car. You've basically got a car that can tow, that goes over 300 miles if you get the top of the range one. The performance one, who knows? That's the most expensive. Prices. Now, Nissan haven't released any prices, but the estimates are that it's going to be around £40,000 for the base models, the 63 kWh one, up to around 60,000 for the real sort of heavy-duty performance version. There's no confirmation of that yet. It might be less. I've got a feeling it might be a little bit less than that, but it's going to be in that ballpark figure. It's in the Tesla Model 3 arena. This really is yet another Tesla killer, except it isn't, because it's different, because it's a Nissan. But it's going to be a really well-made car, really strong and reliable, that will last a hell of a long time. And it can tow. So there are now 3 cars I can think of off the top of my head. The Tesla Model X, that can tow. The Polestar 2, that can tow. And now the Nissan ARIYA. They can all tow. So if you've got a caravan and you want to tow it and you want an electric car, these are the ones for you. Anyway, that's all I got time for. This is just a quick update about that car. It was really interesting to see that presentation. I've sat through so many of those in the past, and it was kind of nice to be in my gym jams, having a cup of tea in the morning with a bit of toast, and to watch it from home was not as bad as flying right around the world to see it. But then I would have actually seen the actual car. So I haven't seen the actual car, but we'll get to test drive it as soon as one gets into this country. But that's all. So please do subscribe to Fully Charged. Please do press the little bell thing in the corner, because then you'll get notifications. Very important. And have a look at the Patreon link that's beneath this video. And as always, if you have been, thank you for watching.